Oh, I'm excited for this one. It's going to be fun. Get the power of LED. So we got some people starting to join us in here. If you are joining, put in the chat where you're from so we can see. Looks like we got Rick from Buffalo, Kimberly from California. Oh, Diana from Iowa. I don't know if you can see on the side of the screen, Michael, but we can see the bit of chat that's going on. We got John from LA. Hey, Kimberly. I was on the wrong screen going up there. Got Linda from Phoenix, Terry from Nebraska, and Michael from Wisconsin. Deborah from California. Got a lot of West Coast here.
Yeah, it's early out there. Everybody's knocking off early.
I know, right? It's almost 5 o'clock. Yeah, I feel bad for those on the East Coast. Get to start at 8 o'clock. Luckily, it's only an hour though.
True.
So you're not up too late. Don't want to stay up past your bedtime, or at least past my bedtime.
I feel like I should have a drink here because most of what I've been doing lately has been the podcast. So, which we do on video. So, I mean, this is my podcast setup.
Oh, it looks really good.
Thanks.
I like the depth that you've got there.
Yeah, this is just my presentation room, my unused presentation room for the photography studio because we went to all Zoom presentations. So
yeah, it's like, hey, I got to utilize this space now. If you've got it, why not tap into it, huh?
Oh, and I'm actually going to shift my office into here soon. So
that's actually what we had done at our studio too. I took my preview room because we were doing so few. I built a new wall and then moved my office into the old preview room. And then we moved our previewing out to our lobby because we're doing a lot of stuff virtually. And the ones that we aren't, it's like, okay, I can kind of share space that way. I've got all the samples up on the walls and everything. But it's like, I'd rather have the usable space.
That's, and I was running out of space because I'm running Mowlight out of here too. So I decided I'm going to move my office into here, just rebuild my entire office, use my office and our production areas over to my left. And so we'll free up some space there. And then I just took we had a huge TV in here for presentations and IPS. Took that up into the studio. I've had that on a rolling stand, and now I use that as a background sometimes.
Ooh, that's a clever idea.
And I use it for commercial work too. Huh. So if you need to shoot product actually, I'll show some of that in here. Actually, you know what? I don't think I do have that in here. No,
that's a teaser.
Yeah.
We got to follow you on your podcast to learn how to do that one.
Yeah, I almost put it in here, but unfortunately, I didn't know who was going to be watching, and some of the images are in print competition.
Oh, so, yeah.
so I stopped
the curse of the PPA photographers.
Yeah, I don't want to put these in there. So
we are at time. It's officially ready to begin. Welcome, everybody. This is Let's Develop. We've got a special guest today, Michael Mowbray. We're going to be looking at LED lights so you can understand what they are and get kind of an insider's view on what we're looking for when it comes to LEDs, how to use them. So kind of exciting stuff that's coming up. For those of you that are brand new to this show, we've got a new episode every 2 weeks. It's a live webinar format for photographers. We're bringing in the top industry professionals. They're guiding us, giving us insights, tips, tricks, that sort of thing. And it's graciously sponsored by American Color Imaging. So got to give a big shout out to them for helping make this possible, getting those connections so that we can bring education to photographers for free. We're learning new information, and it's just a cool way to share there. So thank you so much, ACI, for making that possible. If you've missed some of the previous episodes, like a couple of weeks ago, we had Lisa Asp on with how to talk dog. So we were learning tips and tricks for pet photography. Or before that, we had Woody Walters on where we were learning some cool things in Photoshop, some unique brush work, and all that exciting stuff. If you go to acilab.com/let's-develop, you can see the previous episodes and review them, as well as some of the show notes. So pretty cool that's there. Just a reminder, this is a webinar format. So if you do have questions, on the right side of your screen, there's a little questions and a chat box area. Type in your questions there. At the very end of the presentation, we'll go through those questions. Michael will be answering them for us. So make sure that we're typing it there so that we don't miss them. So make sure you're hitting that questions tab. And if you stay to the very end, we do have some prizes and special giveaways, as well as a discounted item from ACI Lab that's on sale only for those that are watching the webinar live. So make sure that we're staying to the end on there. All right. So now for the exciting part. We get to learn from the master of lighting himself, Michael Mowbray. He's the guy on the left, not the ones on the right when we're looking up there. And he's going to be educating us on LED lighting. For those of you that don't know Michael, he's a photographer, educator, entrepreneur. What I think you're a photographic craftsman, master photographer. Like his list of accolades just goes on and on and on. He's authored 2 books, Shoot to Thrill and The Speedlight Studio, which you can get on like Amazon or Barnes and Noble, something like that. Also the president and owner of Mowlight, which is just a huge resource for us to be able to learn the insider information when it comes to LED lighting from the guy that's designing and selling these things. So he knows his stuff, and we are definitely lucky to have him on here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so we can bring up Michael full screen here.
Hey, nobody wants to see that.
I know, right? Well, you look gorgeous. It looks like you got maybe some LED lighting that's on you right now.
Actually, I do. I've got a little, probably a 25 watt LED panel just up on, in butterfly position, just
Right.
behind my teleprompter. We go all out here. I got a teleprompter and everything here. It
That's
doesn't have any
really
words
cool.
on it, but it allows me to, because I always hated that when I'm like doing a presentation. I'm always looking down at the laptop, then I got to look up and look down, so we try to keep it like this. So yeah, we'll have some fun tonight. As far as questions go, people typing in questions. And Chris, if you see something in there that's really, you feel like super timely,
Okay.
go ahead and interrupt,
You got it.
or find if you find a little window and there's like, hey, yeah, somebody's asking about this. Because sometimes, I don't mind putting it all to the end, but it might be 40 minutes after we talked about it, and while it's fresh, maybe we'll hit the answer because it might be a quick one.
Perfect.
So,
I'll interrupt as appropriate.
all right, sounds good. And if I go, hey, quit interrupting, then we know
Yep.
we've had too many.
Like, Chris, enough. I've only got 45 minutes or so of time here.
And I see, and I'm going to buzz through this because this is about an hour presentation, and I get people have seen me speak or who have taken any of my classes. I get off on tangents a lot, so you may have to reel me
We're
back
already on a
in.
tangent right now, Michael. Let's jump right in.
I know. All right, let's get right into this. So we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about? Am I sharing? I got to share. Let me share. I'm sharing. Sharing is caring. All right. Just going to try to give you guys a better feel for where the state of the industry is for LEDs right now. It's exciting. It's exciting on a number of different levels. One is I feel like LEDs have arrived, and I'll go into more detail in explaining what I mean by how they've arrived. The other thing that's really exciting is that there are a lot of manufacturers who are pouring a lot of resources into developing new and different and better LEDs. Godox is obviously a company I'm very close with, and they seem to be coming out with new LEDs every week. As a matter of fact, I'm almost at the point where I'm going to send them an email and say, hey, stop. Just stop. We can't
There's too
stock
many
all this
options.
stuff. Yeah, I can't stock all this stuff. So, so I'm going to give you some tips for using LEDs. Really, it's more also things you should be aware of, things that you need to know. If you're looking at moving into LEDs or adding LEDs into your lighting setup, here are the kind of things you need to know. So let's move into, okay, come on, there we go. So everything you see in this program obviously has been photographed using LEDs. Hey, that's crazy, right? Do you still get people coming into your studio? I had somebody do this to me last week where they came into the studio and they're looking around. It's like, wow, did you take all these photos? It's like, no, they came with the frames,
Yeah. Off eBay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I never took all these photos. I mean, I just, you can buy stock. It's really cheap. So same kind of thing here. Everything you're going to see in here has been photographed using LEDs. So why are we talking about LEDs now? the three major confluences, yeah, there's your college word for you. The three major confluences that have come together to for me to really feel that LEDs are very usable and very usable for most applications are their high color accuracy now. There's power, there are powerful LEDs out there. And then the cost has finally come down because you could get color accuracy and high power in some ways from some manufacturers, but they're super expensive. Or you could get power and they're not that expensive, but the color was off. So to me, you need to have all three to make it a viable option for professional photography. So, what do we talk about when we're talking about color accuracy? I get down to the nitty gritty, and I do this with every light I test. So, just a quick aside: every light that I bring into Mowbray, whether it's going to be a flash or it's going to be an LED or even all the modifiers, I always test them before we even start to carry them in the store. So I want to know how they perform. I want to know if they meet my standards. And I have very high personal standards because I'm a professional photographer and have been one for 25 years. And so if it meets my standards, and then it's something I'm willing to bring into the stores, it's something that I would be willing to use every day as a professional. So one of the biggest problems I always had with LEDs is that color was a little sketchy. And I remember using those ring lights that were popular maybe 10 years ago. I think I was teaching at After Dark in Las Vegas 10 years ago. And there was a big thing was the ring lights. And man, did they have a weird color cast to them. So I wasn't too enamored with LEDs back then. Now you can get really, really highly color accurate LEDs. So what do I mean by color accuracy? There are really two different measures of color accuracy for LEDs. One is called CRI, which is the color rendering index, and the other one is the TLCI, which is the television light consistency index. I take a look at both because if you're photographing purely portraits, CRI, either one would actually be appropriate for you. If you're shooting video, you really want to look at TLCI. And I'll quickly explain the difference because otherwise this is going to get really bogged down and get really dry. But bottom line, what you're looking for when you're looking at color accuracy is you want a CRI of at least 95. And quite honestly, it's really not that hard to find things that are 97 or 98 CRI, which is extremely high color accuracy in rendering different colors. And that's what we're looking at.
Is
How
it
are
going
the
to say
skin
like
tones?
on the box
Okay.
what the CRI is?
Yes, they should.
Okay, so
Um,
on the website or
but
box, we're gonna. Yep.
But I always, take a look at the manufacturer specs and go, yeah, is it really? you
You're
know,
being a little
so,
generous there.
yeah. So I get out my color. You can see my Sekonic Spectral Master C800U, and I will test them. And I'll test them for color. I'll test them for output. I'll test them for consistency across the major different colors that are used for for the color rendering index. So, which are, let's take a look at those. Um, you can see over on the far right. I don't know if you guys actually can see my mouse, can't you? Good.
Yep.
Those are the 16, 15. I don't know. I can't see right now. 16 different colors that are part of the CRI, the color rendering index. And what you want to look at is how well, to me, for portrait photography, how well it's rendering the reds and the peaches and the medium browns and the tans. Because why? Those are our skin tones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or skin tones across whatever ethnicity you are. You want to make sure that you are rendering those accurately, because at least if you start with accuracy there, then you can throw all your other stuff on there and you can do some color grading and make everything aqua. But I want to start with the file that's clean, right? And that's one of the beautiful things I found as I started to test out more LEDs within the last couple of years. I found that I could just set my camera, my Sony. I shoot a Sony A7R III for most of what I use. I can set it to 5600K, shoot LEDs, the LEDs I use, and the ones I'm going to be talking about, and I'm good. I pull it into Capture One, and I'm on color. So then it's like, okay, now I've got a clean file. What can I do from here? What do I want to do? Do I warm up? Do I want to warm up the skin? Do I want to cool down the skin? What do I want to do? Rather than fixing things. I always, my mantra as a photographer and as a teacher is, if I'm sitting in front of the computer, I want to be an artist. I want to be creating. I do not want to be a mechanic. I don't want to be fixing. So if you're spending too much time in front of a computer, you're fixing things. You want to be an artist. You want to be creative. So
I love
get
that.
everything right in camera and get all the color right. So, all right. So that's one of my soapbox items. All right. So color rendering index, you can
Preach it,
see,
preach it.
yeah, and it's something I hit a lot too. You can see all the different colors that are being measured. And then, for example, this is actually the light I'm using right now. This is the reading off of that. Is a 97.3 CRI. So color rendering index is 97.3. So pretty nice that's a relatively inexpensive panel. It's like a $99 panel.
So thing we're getting out of there is the CRI is going to give us pretty colors. Make sure they're
Right.
accurate.
Exactly. And it gives you a good base. You've got color accuracy that you don't have to fix things. You don't have to try to gel it, or you don't have to, fix it later on when you're processing your raws. Now you take a step further and you go into TLCI, which is what the broadcast and video industry uses. They add some more colors in. And the biggest thing I'm going to point out here is, what does this chart over here that I'm circling look like?
That
Looks
kind of
like a
looks like that
Macbeth.
color chart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Calibration.
Macbeth color chart. That's pretty much what it is, right? So they add some more color tones in here. And what I like about the TLCI is I get more. See, up here in the upper left quadrant, I've got different skin tones there. I've got some other things, over here into the mauves and such that are going to factor into skin as well. So I've got more readings to take a look at to see just how well it reproduces all those colors, which is also going to be important if I shoot any video. So, for example, the V100 panel that I carry from Golden Eagle, you're looking at TLCI of 98 on that. So very, very high.
Is that also out of 100?
Out of 100, yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
basically, a good LED CRI or TLCI rating starts at 95. But to me, the really good is when you're getting 97, 98. I have some stuff that's 99. That's where we're like, oh, this is primo stuff at a good price. So straight out of the camera, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So I set the 5600K and I'm done, which is nice. And then also, it's important to be able to know what color you're getting out of there so you can easily blend with daylight. And a lot of the LEDs have either bicolor, meaning they can be daylight or tungsten, or they're adjustable all the way from like 2800K up to 6000K. So you can dial in exactly. And if you've got a colorimeter, you can measure, maybe you've got blended light and it's 4500 degrees. You can set your LED to 4500 degrees. That's nice. Or if you want to introduce some warmth into the background, you can do that. As a matter of fact, let's go back one. The background on this particular image is the same as the background on the right. All I did is I took an LED panel and I set it to 2800 degrees to light the background. And it gave me that nice warm amber look. It's just kind of a nice little tool to have.
Yeah, it's something that our traditional strobes don't do. We're stuck at 5600 on that one.
Or you have to gel, and I gel, but it's a pain. It's a pain.
Turning a dial sounds a lot more appealing.
Yeah, just like, it's like, oh, that's not exactly what I want. It's like, you dial exactly in. And I'll show you a video. Ideally, it's going to work through this. I'm going to show you a video a little bit later of something that's even more revolutionary where you can dial in any color you want, which is cool. Ooh, it's a tease.
Right.
So color accuracy, one factor. Okay, we got a three-legged stool here. One factor is color accuracy. The next factor is power, because that's where flashes just destroy LEDs. And honestly, they still do. Because when you're dealing with a flash versus LED, you're dealing with an instant burst of light versus continuous light. It takes a lot less power to fill up a capacitor and dump it all in a fraction of a second than it does to continually drive either the chip on board LED like we see on screen or the little LED bulbs like we have in panels. That power's constantly got to be there and without flicker. So it's a little different. on how LEDs work. So if you're looking for pure power, you're always going to have a flash is going to win that. But there is enough power in most of the LEDs that are out there to be usable. And there's one other factor with power that I take a look at, and that's power plus ISO. And that's one of the other things that's happened in recent years is with a lot of new camera bodies coming out and a lot of people moving into mirrorless. What they're finding is that, oh my gosh, I can shoot ISO 800 in Sony like it was ISO 100 when I shot film, or when even in the early days of digital, or better than the early days of digital. Um, so, or you can shoot 1600, or you can shoot 3200, or you can shoot 12,567 degrees, or whatever the heck. There are a lot higher ISOs that are available to us now that are usable and printable and nice and not super noisy. I shoot all my headshots, and I do a ton of headshots. I shoot all my headshots at ISO 800.
Oh,
And
wow.
why? Because I can, and that allows me to do all my headshots with LEDs. Um, I haven't shot headshots on location because of COVID, so we've been doing them all in studio. But which means I haven't shot any headshots using flash for 15 months, probably at
I bet the
least.
eyes are gorgeous with that continuous light too. You're not gonna have to worry about having those big pupils.
Exactly.
I
That's
might
a
have to
huge
try
part
that
of
out.
it.
This sounds quite appealing.
Huge part of it is that Uh, and I know light. I worked with speed lights for many years. I mean, heck, I wrote the two books on speed lights, and I didn't have modeling lights or anything. So you really learn how to place your light if you don't have a modeling light. So I know how to place the lights, but I have to tell you, it's been really nice having LEDs to see exactly what I'm going to get. So my message to you is, if you're out there and you're struggling with your light placement using flash, maybe take a step back and go, well, maybe continuous light might be a good answer for me, because you can see exactly what you're getting, because it is really what you see is what you get when you're using LEDs. And it's nice. Anything that, because I'm typically like juggling squirrels with chainsaws because I'm doing too many different things. Anything to alleviate my brain. If I'm doing a shoot, it's like, okay, I don't have to think about where the light's going to fall because I can see where it's going to fall. Great. Boom. We'll just do that. It makes it easier. So that part has been very nice. You can see how messy I keep my studio. This is one end of my studio. Um, yeah, just ignore that. But you can see the lighting setup here. I'm using a single 42-inch snap, and I've got if I remember correctly, I have a 32-inch snap on a boom as fill. You'll see in the catch lights in the eyes. I've got an eye lighter. I've got a round 100 watt panel lighting the background. Now I've replaced the panel, and I use a projection LED for that, because it gives me a little bit more control over how defined I want that circle, and I can really zoom it in and out. And then I use wands. I use these lighting wands I'll talk about in a second as my kickers. So all battery powered, battery powered, battery powered. The LED that's driving the main light is not. That's plugged in, but that's a 200 watt LED. And you can see I'm at 200 watts plus ISO 800 equals 250th or 160th or whatever at f6.3 and ISO 800. I mean, and that
Wow.
gives me, now this is, doesn't translate super well over
Yeah,
feeding it
it's
through all
compressed,
this
but
stuff, but I can tell you, well, Sony tack sharp, number one, but you can see every pore in this guy's face, and you're not seeing noise. None. There's no noise in the shadows. There's no noise in the highlights. There's no noise. It's ISO 800. Again, hitting the exposure dead on really helps, because you aren't introducing any noise from having poor exposure. But yeah, you can see the lighting setup here too. You got the key light here. You can see a little bit of the fill up here in about the 1 o'clock position. So that's my typical headshot setup: is key, fill, upfill a little bit, background light, double edge light, and I just dial in a double edge light depending on the subject.
I'm impressed that we can have a 2/50th of a second while still working with them. That's a lot of
Yeah,
output.
a lot of it depends on the power of the LED you're using and how close you are. I would say in general, I'm typically more at um, like 160th, 125th, somewhere in there. But I'm also using a camera stand, a big Cambo 275 pound. I call what do I call that? Andre the Giant is what I call it.
You're like a
And
Hulk?
which if we
Yeah.
ever if we ever sell this, it's staying. It's not going with us. Um,
Inconceivable. No.
exactly, because it's inconceivable to move. Um, on the left here, that's actor's headshot. On the right is a senior. You can have really soft light. I'm bouncing from a softbox into a V flat for the actor's headshot, and that's the main light. And then using just the wands, you can see a nice little highlight up on top here. That's a tiny little round LED that's magnetic that also has a quarter 20 port on. I can just put on a really light boom arm and just bring it up over top. Or you can create a little bit more dramatic light there. So really, the only reason I'm showing the two differences is that you can do whatever light you want. There's no different than using flash. I mean, whatever lighting pattern, whatever lighting style you can create. So while we're on the topic of power, though, I get this a lot where people say, well, if you can get me 200 watts, well, or even 300 watts, well, why not 400 watts or 600 watts or 1200 watts? There's a difference between LEDs and flash. Again, people can tolerate poof, quick pop of light. People can't tolerate 1200 watts of LED in their face. I can tell you from experience, the most people can handle is about 300 watts through a softbox. That's about it. Anything more than that, especially if they have light sensitivity at all, they start to squint, and then you lose all the nice, bright highlights in the irises and stuff. So yeah, 200 watts to 300 watts is really about all anybody can take. So can you create an LED that's going to give you 1,000 watts? Yeah, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, and you're going to fry people's retinas. So you have to find that happy medium. And to me, it's 200 watts to 300 watts. So the next question I typically get is, okay, well, I want that, but I want it to be battery powered. Okay, that's a lot of power to be pulling out of a battery. So can we do battery powered 300-watt LEDs? The answer is yes. You're looking at some expensive batteries because you're looking at what are called V mount batteries. And you get
Mhm.
into the high end of broadcast and video field. You're looking at the Anton Bauer V mount batteries, which are run you $800-900 a piece. There are more inexpensive options out there, and I actually carry some myself and the ones I use. But you can put one or two V mount batteries on some of these. I have a 300-watt LED called the Godox VL300 that'll take two V mount batteries, and you can take it out in the field, which gets a little heavy. But if you're doing video outside and you need
The
light,
portability.
there,
Yeah.
portability. There's a good video on my YouTube channel, good video that Godox produced that I have uploaded that shows somebody using the VL300 outside and using it for portraiture and using it for video. So, can you use it for creative portraiture? Well, yeah, as creative as you want to get. Um, here you can see the setup in the lower right hand corner. I've got a 72-inch parabolic diffused umbrella that's on a boom arm. Everybody's going to ask what the boom is because everybody gets lost in the booms. What kind of stand is that? Okay, let's talk about that. That's a Kupo C stand on a rolling base, and that's a Kupo baby boom arm. Okay, we got that covered. So, and that's got a 200-watt LED in it. And it's shooting into the umbrella and reflecting down. So I have that as kind of top light, and then a couple of wands as kickers, and then down low, I've got that little round. It's a 16-inch round LED panel that I'm using for uplight, and I can dial in exactly how much uplight that I want for that. So you do have really all the same kind of looks that you want to do with flash. You can do the same thing with LED. What you don't have is you probably don't have F16, but I don't know how much you guys shoot F16. I'm typically in the 5.6 to F8 range, unless there's something like a family group or whatever where I need to get deeper. Or I'll be shooting 2.8 or 1.8 even in the studio. Depends on what I'm trying to shoot. So there are different options. Okay.
I love that
What
you can
about
get the
product?
shallow
Okay.
depth of field while still not being locked into that shutter sync speed. That's nice.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because it does nothing but help you. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
well, I want to shoot it at 1.8. Oh, I'm at 500th of a second. Cool,
Yeah, right.
or 800th of a second, or whatever.
It makes learning lighting easier too.
Yeah, it does. It does very much. Um, so other option would be product photography. I've done a fair amount of product photography in the last year with COVID shutdown. Everybody pivoted a little bit, so I got a little bit more into product photography. And this is I did a day long shoot for a new pizza chain, so it was kind of fun playing with pizza all day long. But it's the kind of thing that to me, LED is perfect for. Could I have shot this with flash? Yeah, it was a heck of a lot easier to shoot it with LED because you can see where your highlights are coming across, and you're not dealing with hot lights either, like we used to back in the day. Use the hot lights. LEDs run fairly cool. At least they're cool on the subject. They're maybe kicking out a little bit of heat right on the unit, but they're cool on the subject. So you can get an idea of the setup here. Um, just bringing in a boomed snap, I think a snap 42-inch to give me some overhead light, and then from behind I've got a LED projector. It's the Godox S30 LED projection with a projection lens on it, skimming across the pizza, hitting some highlights across the vegetables in the back, a little bit of light on the napkin back there. What else have we got going on there? I've got some V flats. Actually have to look at my setup here. I had some other stuff going on this. Oh, and I actually did a little handheld LED for some of the stuff just to get some little kick in highlights, like even up in here. I think I had some little handheld LEDs for highlights, and you can see it actually more in the next shot. If you shoot bottles or you shoot wine or you shoot liquor, you got to get the label right. Well, sometimes it's hard to get the label right without overlighting everything else. Simple. It's like two or three different frames. Just build them together. Everything's locked down. So we did the splash in one shot. I did the bottle and most of the bottle in the glass in another shot, and then hit some highlights in some other shots. So the actual light on the label is, you can see in the upper right. I'm just holding this little R1 round LED that's got a grid on it, plus a little dome on it to just knock down the specularity a little bit. And I'm just using that right on the label, and that's giving me a nice light on the label. I think I probably painted a little bit up and down this cap label as well, just to give a nice little highlight there. So, yeah, and simple white sweep with plexiglass. A little bit of light coming up underneath.
Was the
Had my
liquid motion added in, or did you shoot it like that?
shot it like that. That is, I had my son come out because I actually have a home based studio. It's all built onto the back of our house. So I had my son come out, and it was simply, we did a couple of splash shots and we timed it. One of the nice things, again, shooting the Sony A7R3, I think I can shoot that at 10 frames a second. So I put it on 10 frames a second.
You don't have to wait for
And
your strobes to recharge.
yeah, exactly. And I did a count. So I had him hold the ice above it. And it's like 1, 2, 3. Brrr. It's like, okay, let's clean it up. Let's do one more pass. Brrr. Done. We had it. So I don't even think, if I remember correctly, I don't even think that splash is, I don't think it's multiples composited. That's one splash. And it was from another frame, with everything else still in the same position. We just, overlaid that and masked it in. But yeah, and then, I had to clean up all the scotch. I hate that.
Yeah, right. Get my little sippy straw. Hard work.
Is that and the other thing is that Aberlour scotch in the glass? No, it's actually Bowmore, but I wouldn't tell Aberlour that. So, because I needed to keep the bottle open or unopened, so it looked good. Um, and then, aren't going to spend a ton of time on this, but this is just just yellow paper in the background and light over top, getting a couple of V flats in tight, black plexi underneath to reflect some of the color in, and then hitting some projection LEDs coming back in through the glass and through the lemon to get that nice highlight. And then doing the same kind of thing with the label is handheld with an LED just to paint a little extra exposure into that. All right. So along with the battery powered LEDs, what are the options that are out there? There's a ton. I'm going to talk about the ones I'm familiar with, but you have, and I showed some of these, the 100 watt S80 and V100 16-inch panels. Those beauty shots I did way back here. That's one nice thing about doing this. I can just do this. Boom. That is a 16-inch battery-powered LED. It can run on AC as well, but I do think I had the V-mount battery on it. It's just boomed over top in butterfly position.
Did you
So
have like a diffuser or modifier on that, or is that straight off of it?
That's straight off of it. And one of the nice things
Wow.
about this is the Golden Eagle S80. Let's come back down to it. It's a little thicker. It's a little deeper panel, and it's on purpose. They pull the LEDs back further and they recess them off the front. And one of the problems I've seen with cheaper LED panels is that you see all the bulbs, number one. And that's how you can tell typically it's a little cheaper, is that it's really thin and all the bulbs are right on the very front. So you get sometimes you can get some odd specularity off of that. So if you pull the LED bulbs back further and recess them and put a frosted diffuser on the front of it, which is built into this panel, you'll lose that specularity and you get that really nice look. So to me, it's like a small beauty dish is almost what it's acting like. And it's the same kind of thing that I'm doing here on this almost 3/4 length from the same session. And you can see it. I just have it on one of those rolling studio stands made by Lumo Pro, and just a little arm coming out. Boom. Here, I'm just using a straight silver reflector coming up underneath and a couple of wands just to give me these highlights on the hair. That's it. That's a V-mount battery over to the right. So you get an idea of the size of that. It's good size. Well, actually, this one's plugged in. I can see right now.
So nice to have the
Well, it's AC
flexibility.
too. So you can go up to 200 watt or 300 watt battery powered LEDs with the Godox VL series, and they have a separate power pack, so it keeps the main unit of the LED smaller, and it also keeps some of the heat off of that because you're not putting all the power generation inside with everything else that's in there. It's all running through like an XLR cable all the way up to the LED itself. So then these just hang down on the onto the stand, which allows you to go over and manually turn things in, or turn things up and down, or these will work off a remote as well, which is nice.
Oh, that sounds fun. Did they take the Bowens mount on them?
These do. Yep.
Oh, nice.
These
That's handy.
those are Bowens mount, and then also the reflector that that Godox created for all their new series of LEDs is very high efficient reflector. I'm getting more light out of this reflector than I ever got out of a regular 7-inch reflector on flashes. So it's whatever they did with all those different beading and different levels really does increase the effective output, which is nice. And I'm going to keep saying which is nice.
That's nice. Yeah.
It is nice. Some other unique things. I talked a little bit about this S30 projection LED. I love this for just dropping down low on a very low stand for people for headshots. I can put that on the background and I can control the size of the circle of light I have on the background. And I can also control the intensity of it by turning the power up and down or moving it back and forth. You can also snap a projection lens onto this if you want a really crisp, tight circle with no metamerism around it. They have that as an option for these too. And that's something I'm going to be actually playing with on Sunday. So if you follow me on Facebook or follow the Mowlight page or Instagram, hopefully sometime this coming week, I'm going to show some really cool stuff where we're mixing some RGB LEDs, which we'll be talking about, plus this projection system. So it's just going to be some really cool stuff. And if you're looking for more like handheld stuff, they do Godox and Golden Eagle both make 60 watt handheld LEDs that use close. I mean, use close with a modifier like the standard beauty position, plenty of power. If you're looking for taking something out with your seniors, or something to use in the shade. Perfect for that kind of thing. It's not going to fight the full sun, but in the shade, plenty of power. So uh, and you can see some of the stuff. Here's I don't know if you guys follow Shannon Atchley, and if any of you guys are senior photographers. If you don't follow Shannon Atchley, Atchley, she does amazing work, and she's one of the MoLight Pro Team mentors. And this is just some of her work using the Dragon Light LED wand and taking some of her model team to like the fair or to like the arcade, and then just blending it with the ambient light, getting enough light off of the wand to light up the face and get some separation between the face and everything else, and get some definition on the face. Works great for that.
Wow, those were all
Works,
done with just the wand?
yeah, and then blending with ambient light,
Wow,
and then
that's some
similar kind
pretty
of thing.
quality light.
This is senior eye shot last year, and just a little bit of an overcast day. This is, the lake is behind her. You can actually see it in this shot, and you can see how close the wand's being held. But it allows you to travel really light. So if I got an overcast day and I know I'm not going to need a ton of power out of a flash, I'll still carry one with me because I have an assistant and that's what they can do. But I'll bust out those wands because it's really, you can move really fast and get a lot of stuff done with these. And all I'm looking for is getting that pop of light in the face and getting some separation and some shaping on the face. And it works great for that as well. Or, if you want to do something kind of Peter Hurley-ish, um, he does the triangle. I never cared for the triangle. I do the square, whatever, to each their own. Um, I think I like the square better because then you have to buy 4 wands versus 3. No, actually, I just like the look better. But that's what this is. This is 4 wands creating this look. So it'll create a fairly flat look if you want, or you can still create definition. You can take the wand on the left and turn it down, and then you've got stronger light on the right than you have on the left, so you're going to create a lighting ratio. You can turn the left and right ones off and leave the top and bottom ones on. You got butterfly light, so it gives you some flexibility in a fairly light and a fairly small footprint of lighting equipment. So I'm kind of playing with that a little bit more this year, and I hope to have more examples. But I think that's a very viable headshot kit. Now, the thing I'm most excited about right now is I always like new stuff. Are the RGB LEDs, because that's the next level. It's like, okay, now we've got highly color accurate LEDs, and we got enough power, and we can put batteries on a lot of these, and we can take them anywhere, and we can use them in the studio. But what other things can we do that make these better than flashes? I think in a lot of ways is that we've got the ability to dial in just about any color we want. So rather than be limited to, okay, this one will do red or blue or green, um, we've got with this particular wand, I think it's 300 and some thousand different color combinations that we can do with it, all on remote control. Or you can go on the wand itself and dial the stuff in.
Remote
So
sounds
very
way
cool.
easier.
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways it might be. But wait, now we've got a studio size 150-watt RGB LED. This is the baby I've been waiting for. And this came out right at the end of 2020, and really haven't had much stock on these until the last few months, because there weren't that many when they were originally released. So we do have these in stock now, and I did a little quick video showing how this works rather than trying to tear this all down and take this up in the studio and show you guys how this works. Let's see if we can move the microphone over a little bit, and you guys can just watch this real quick video and see why I'm excited about this. Hi, everybody. Michael Mowbray here. That's me. Take a quick second to show off one of my favorite new tools from Godox. It's the SZ150R RGB LED. There's a lot of letters in there. What that means is it's something very cool. It's a 150-watt second LED that's in a strobe-based body. So you can put a Bowens mount on it, Bowens mount modifier on it. It's pretty powerful. You can use it for video, you can use it for photos and whatnot. What I'm using it for right now is lighting the background, and that's what's got me the most excited, because watch this.
I can go onto my phone and I can change the color of the background.
Ooh.
That's really cool.
I can bring the color or the intensity down. Ooh, I actually kind of like that. Let's see if we can get the bring out the color.
Is that on a white background or gray or
Gray, studio gray?
There you go. Probably red. A little bit more in the hazel green, and there we go. Look at that. Ooh, very cool. And I can bring the power way up, way down. I'm just using this, as you can see. Well, you can't even really see because it's going black. Ha! But it's just a studio gray background. Just studio gray background paper. And then I'm just using an app. Let's bring this in nice and close. See that? What? Well, it's out of focus. What? Just an app, and I can dial through different parts of the color wheel and change the color. That is freaking awesome. So it's all Bluetooth from my phone. I can go into different modes here. I can flip it over to just straight CCT. Right now it's at 2800 degrees. I actually kind of like that. That's kind of a cool color. I can take it up to daylight. Look at that. I can take the intensity down. Get just a gentle gray in here and get a brighter gray and blow it out to white if I want to. I've got it boomed up above me. So just above camera height here, and just shining down just with the reflector on it and lighting the background. So let's flip back to our nice different hues. That blue is pretty cool. This is awesome. Just think about what you could save on background paper and what you can save on gels just with one light. So check this thing out. It is very, very cool. It's the SZ150R from Godox. Very cool.
that was kind of amazing. We do have a question. Have you ever used that as a main?
Yeah. I mean, just because daylight balance, you can use it for.
You can do it. So you've got the special factor of it that it can do it if you want it to, but then you can just have it calibrated into our normal color spectrum or normal white balance.
It's got different modes. It's got the CCT mode is tungsten to daylight, and all the stops in between there. I can't think of what they call the RGB mode, but it's like you can control the color, you can control the saturation, and it's like CSI is what it's kind of like, color, saturation, and intensity. So yeah, it's I'm doing one of the problems we had. Again, everybody's had the same problem with COVID, is that I haven't been doing as many shoots. I was being very careful. Finally got my vaccination, trying to get my trying to find my models who have been vaccinated, so I feel a lot more comfortable bringing them in the studio for long periods of time. So we're finally all together on that. So I've got model and makeup coming in on Sunday. I've got a model coming in on Monday, and I'm going to be playing with color with both of them. So we're going to be seeing some really interesting things. So watch for that over the next couple of weeks as I get things worked and get them done. You can kind of see what the options are going to be with some of this RGB stuff. It's very, very cool and got me like super excited. So the last aspect of everything is cost. And I'm not gonna beat this horse too hard here, but I'm just gonna give you guys an idea, because it's always like, hey, Michael, that all sounds great, but what if this all costs $8,000? Well, hey, it's not pro photo. Oh, there's a dig. Well, I'm gonna look over the comments. People are pissed.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
So what's all this stuff? What's the ballpark range and all this stuff? Golden Eagle 200 watt LED is actually kind of my workhorse. That's what I use for my main and my fill, primarily for headshots, because it's just dead on, very very accurate. Has a very easy little remote control, so you can turn the power up and down. I can put my main on channel 1. I can put my fill on channel 2, and I just use the same remote and take the power up and down. It's pretty easy. $399. So used to be that high quality LED, 200 watt LED, to give you that kind of color accuracy and remote control, you're probably looking at $800. Yeah, other things have come down as well, but I found these guys 2 years ago at the big NAB convention in Las Vegas. I went out there primarily because I wanted another option to Godox. Nothing against Godox, but at the time their LEDs were kind of I wasn't excited about them. They didn't tell me that they were going to like reinvent all the LEDs in the world in the next coming 2 years. So I was looking for an option that I could bring in for my clientele that met all those criteria I was talking about, that color accurate and low cost and power. And I found these guys. And they've been in business since 1989 in Shenzhen. Not in Shenzhen, they're in Ningbo. Not that anybody knows where that is, but hey, near Shanghai. Anyway, really nice people too. So very high quality and good price. So $399 on that. They do make a 300-watt LED that I'm out of stock on. I need to get some more in, but $549 for those. Those Godox VL series, which are super nice, but they're the ones that you can run on battery or AC. They're like $549 to $749. V-mount battery is $189, and you can definitely spend a lot more on them, but why? The SZ 150R, the LED, the RGB one that we were just talking about, $599, and again, runs off your phone. So you can go up to the back of it and turn things on, but one of the things I love about it is I have it up on a boom arm that's attached to the wall, and I can turn it off with the phone and say off, and it's off. And I could go up to the studio right now, take my phone up there and just turn the phone on, turn on the app, make sure it connects, boom, and turn it back on and get any color I want without having to climb up a ladder, which is good. Godox just came out too with an ultra silent line of LEDs. So anybody who's really into video and is concerned about picking up some fan noise on microphones, the UL 150 are super silent, like as in you can't hear them. So that's an option for a really good option for video. And let's see, Golden Eagle, and both Golden Eagle and Godox I mentioned earlier have a handheld 60-watt LED. You can get an idea of size here, and that's with the Bowens mount on it and battery pack. Will run on AC as well. That runs
It's pretty compact.
It is. I throw one for senior season. I have one in my truck as well as a couple of wands, because if I know a place we're going and it's shady or it's overcast out or it's towards the end of the day, it's like, oh, bust out the LEDs, because they're very portable. And that's just the Godox version of this. This does not come with a Bowens mount. It comes with a Godox mount, but you can put this into a Bowens mount adapter. So it works both ways. That projection LED I was talking about earlier, check that out. That is super cool. It's $249. Projector lens and cookie, about another $150, $180, I think, 180, somewhere around there, I think is where those run. I should know this, but I have too many products. I can't remember everything.
Right.
Those panels run $379 and super useful for portraiture and for products and for video. Use them for all those. And then getting into some of the wands, like the Dragon Light wand from Golden Eagle is $135. So it's a very nice economical wand. And then get into the Godox ones, the RGB ones are $239. They make one that is exact same form factor that isn't RGB, that's $189. A lot of people use those for light painting cars. That's one John Hartman uses a lot. So if you guys are into light painting and know John Hartman, that's kind of his favorite one. And Jerry Kiefer does a lot of light painting with the Godox LC500. And that little handheld LED that I was using to light paint into some of the bottles and stuff, you can get it just about any color out of that as well. But I'll use that as a little hair light and just put it on a little light boom arm coming off a C-stand, or really any lightweight stand, because it doesn't weigh anything. And it's got a magnet on the back too, so it'll attach to anything that's metal. All right. I don't know how we're doing on time.
Yeah, we got about 3 or 4 minutes left before we're out.
Awesome. Okay, good.
Looks like you're getting pretty close to the end, though.
Yeah, I am. That's why I wanted to see.
We still have some prizes and stuff to give away too.
Okay, so really fast. Final summary. Pros: color accuracy, power, cost, value, WYSIWYG. very portable for low light needs, good battery powered options, well suited for a lot of photography. I think LEDs. Got a new grandchild back in February. Actually, on my mom's birthday. But I couldn't imagine. I don't really photograph newborns anymore, but I photograph my own grandkids. Um, I couldn't imagine photographing newborns with flash anymore. With where LEDs are now, it's all going to be LEDs. I mean, that's what I photographed Gael with, was all LEDs, and I used mostly wands. It worked great. I think it'd be great for boudoir because a lot of times you're shooting fairly wide open,
Mm-hmm.
and again, being able to see exactly how you're shaping the light. Headshots we talked about a lot. Products we talked about a lot. Seniors, it's not going to freeze motion. So if you're doing athletes and you're trying to freeze motion, flash. But for taking it out and running around, as long as you're not working in full sun, it'd be a surprise at how much the LEDs can do. So the cons: you still need to use a higher ISO. Will not freeze motion, as I just mentioned. I don't think it's really well suited for large groups and deeper depth of field. So if you're trying to photograph 20 people and you're trying to get f11 or f16, you're going to be sacrificing some shutter speed there. And we all know, working with clients, they don't sit still. People move. You tell them to stay still. Today's people would never have made it in the 1860s for family portraits where you had to stay still for 10 minutes. Just saying.
They got cool
Matthew,
poles they could lean up against, though, too.
that's true.
Yeah.
Matthew Brady would not have been happy. Anyway, LEDs will still generate some heat, so you have to be aware of that. And the batteries can be expensive. So hopefully I kind of outlined the pros and the cons, all the good stuff. Gave you guys a good roadmap for how I think LEDs could maybe fit into a lot of photographers' workflow and their studio. Of course, where do you find all this stuff, Chris? I don't know. Where do you find it? Oh, yeah, Molite. That's my company. So Molite, gomolite.com. Carrying Godox, our own proprietary soft boxes. We're the exclusive USA distributor for Golden Eagle. Last real quick, and we'll do the other stuff. If you haven't checked it out already, check out our podcast. I'm in my podcast setup right now anyway. I do this podcast with Carl Kaler and Dan Freevault called The Photo Happy Hour. We have a lot of fun. We definitely share a ton of information in our podcast. But basically the premise is we get together, we have a few drinks, and we talk about photography. So, and the more we
That
drink, the
sounds
more
like a
we know.
great time.
It is a good time. It's like, hey, it really came out of COVID. It's like, what are we going to do with our time? And what's another excuse to drink? Podcast.
Right.
There we go. Came together. All right. So questions and answers. Shoot them at me.
So do
Do
have
what
a
you gotta
question
do.
from Diana. Wanting to know if that little archery round one would work on a drone.
It might. Yeah. You're going to have to get pretty close for it to really do anything unless you're at night. But yeah, I think it
Okay,
would.
so it could be an option for doing stuff. And for those of you, if you go into the chat on the side, I just put 2 links there so that you've got a direct link to both the Photo Happy Hour as well as the Molite website, so that you guys can kind of keep a track there and don't have to try to write down that number. You can just click the link right now so that you can visit, subscribe, and start learning more. For those that are just getting started with LEDs or wanting to maybe get a base kit, do you have any recommendations on like what should you buy first?
I think, I treat this the same way as I do flash, is what are you trying to photograph? I start with that, and that gives me an idea of power, how much power you're going to need, and then where. So I'm always on location. Okay, well, that tells me you need to have something that's going to be battery powered, or I need something purely in the studio. It's like, okay, then AC powered is something that's going to be an option. So there's no one
One
answer.
size fits all that's best.
Yeah, I think a good place though, however, to start and just get an idea of what LEDs can do is probably one of those wands. I've had a lot of people do that. Either start with like a Dragon Light or one of the Godox LC500s or the RGB one that's out now too, and give you an idea of at a fairly low jump in point in terms of cost, give you an idea if it's something you like and something that you would use, and you can get an idea what it really is like. And I think it's a good teaching tool because you can take the the wand, and you can move it around and you can see exactly where you want to shape the light. And if you're trying to learn lighting, I think that's a really helpful tool because then wherever you put that, end up putting that LED is the same place you would put a flash. So it's light. So if you're trying to figure out where to put light placement, try it maybe with LED, and that'll give you a better idea of how to approach it.
That's pretty cool. So on your store, Mowlight, why should we purchase from Mowlight? What do you do that's different from everybody else? Right? You got the Mo behind it.
Yeah, and all modesty aside, yeah, it's a huge part of it, because one of the reasons I started it is I started with Godox, because right at the very cusp of Godox really coming into America, because I was using it. And what I saw was, you get it on Amazon, you get it on eBay, but you weren't able to get it anywhere where you could get questions answered or get really good customer service, or God
Ding, ding,
forbid,
ding, ding, ding.
So
Right.
that's really what the premise of Mowlight is to provide stellar customer service and support, and actually getting the right answer the first time, because you can get somebody on the phone, doesn't mean you're going to get the right answer. Because I use all this stuff, and I am a master photographer and an IPC juror and all these other things. I know a couple of things. I don't know everything, but I know a couple of things, and I know how all this stuff works. So I can answer the question right the first time. And then beyond that, we also do the longest warranty in the US. We do a 2-year warranty on all Godox flashes, and then a 1-year warranty on all of our soft boxes and stuff like that too. And we are one of the few places that do repairs in the US for Godox. There's like 3 places, and that's it.
And it's not just you saying this, Michael. Even seeing in the comments here, he takes care of his customers. That's what sets him apart. Just you take really, really good care of everybody. You care about the industry. You're supporting it. You're doing things like this where you're sharing information and knowledge. And it's one of those things where you've got to support those that are supporting you, those that are taking care of our industry and helping elevate everybody else. I don't think there's anybody that speaks ill of you and how much you give to this industry. So
You haven't met my family, but anyway,
right.
yeah.
Maybe after a few drinks, we'll get on that one. But we've got a couple of prizes to give away as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here.
Sure.
And let's see if I can find the button to hit now.
Well, I can stop sharing here too, so hang on.
That might kick you out. I'm not sure. We'll go with that one. Hey, we're up here now. Okay, so and here's the links too. If you didn't see it on the sidebar, go mowlight.com and the photohappyhour.buzzsprout.com. So you can check those out. Also send your links in the follow-up email as well, just so we know how to connect with you. So ACI is putting on special one of your favorite products, the Econo Lay Flat albums. So for the next couple of weeks, you can get 25% off if you use the special code. And you're like, uh-oh, what's that special code? If you look to the side, I just activated it now. You can get that special code. Not going to say it here live because there is a replay, and this is only available for those that are watching with us and have registered. So make sure you're jotting that down. I'm also sending it in that follow-up email as well so that we can keep track of that one. So we got some prizes to give away, and I love doing the Wheel of Fun. So first up in our prizes, we've got some ACI swag. Make sure if you're the winner on this one that you are reaching out to me so that we can find your size and the color that you want on that. So let's get it going and see who the winner is on that. I love this thing. It just cracks me up.
That is hilarious.
And
I wrote the code down too, because I'm going to use that.
All right. Chris Wood, congratulations. He's actually here from Spokane, so that's awesome.
Cool.
So you have won the swag. So up next, we've got... Uh-oh, it froze. There we go. We're giving away one of the Econo Lay Flat albums. So let's see who the winner of the Lay Flat album is.
And just as an aside, I make a lot of money on the Econo Lay Flat albums for my seniors. Almost every senior buys one, and it's the first decision they make in the in-person selling, and favorite product by far.
It's an easy way to go. And I like that you can get them in sets too. So you can get just the single ones, or you can get the dual sizes going on there. But Suzanne, congratulations. You've won that one. And now
Cool.
I've got another prize to give away. And this one's a kind of fun one. We've got the combo. We've got the swag, and you've got your Econo Lay Flat album. So we'll see who's winning this one.
We need sound effects.
Oh, is that not coming through? Oh, on my end, I might have changed it.
Oh, I'm not hearing it here now.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yep. So Kim Wallace, you've won the combo. Make sure that you're reaching out to me on that so that we can make sure that you're going to get your prize. So I've got some upcoming stuff going on. We've seen her in the comments here. We've got Kimberly Oakler. She's going to be speaking to us in a couple of weeks on the 23rd, Events Beyond Weddings. So we're going to be looking at using technology when photographing events. That one should be really, really cool. Looking forward to that. After that, we've got Don McGregor coming for posing for family portraiture. So internationally known photographer. He's going to be sharing some of his tips on posing for families. We've got Rachel Bohr from IPS Mastermind. She's going to be sharing 9 free ways that you can market your photography business. So we've got some kind of cool excitement coming up. Also going, is that not switching? There we go. I've got a workshop that's happening next week, June 14th and 15th through West Coast School. Book More, Make More, so you can learn in-person sales and marketing. It's a virtual workshop. It's in the evenings from 5:30 to 9 p.m. That is Pacific time, so it kind of sucks if you're on the East Coast for that one. But if you do register, you do get the recordings from it as well, even if you're not able to stay up quite so late and do it. So I'll put that link also on the sidebar here, and it'll be in the email that's going out in case you want to join me for that one. And another workshop coming up. If you were here and watched the Woody Walters presentation, Woody and I are teaming up and doing a Photoshop workshop, also with West Coast School, so creating art and composites in Photoshop, and that's going to be on July 24th, so coming up here pretty soon. And as always, if you have any feedback or ideas of content that you'd like to see, a speaker you'd like me to get in touch with, make sure that you're reaching out, hello@cwooley.com, and shoot me an email. Let me know what you want to learn, and I'll see what I can put together, how we can connect with other amazing industry professionals. And that's officially it, guys. This has been a blast. Michael, thank you so very, very much. I've learned so much. Let's get this up on, let's change the screen layout here. I've learned so much about LEDs on here, and I'm kind of excited to start playing with them. Like, it looks like a really, really cool toy that, well, actually more of a toy. It's more of a useful project, huh? Or a useful tool.
It'll make you money.
Right? That's the important one. Like, is it going to make your life easier, and is it going to make you money? Like, if it does, then that's like a no-brainer for me. And like, okay, I need to start adding these to my lineup.
So, yeah, it's totally game changer. Yeah.
Thank you again so much, Mike. I really, really appreciate your time coming and sharing all of your information with us. And make sure you're checking out the Go Mowlight store so you can browse the listing, see what he's got available in stock. Yep, it's on the side panel. Pay attention. It's on here, gomowlight.com. All right, that's an official wrap, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me on another episode of Let's Develop. And thanks, ACI. We appreciate the support. Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.